Okay,
What did you think it was?
I feel safe, I know.
Okay, you, come here.
I think it's important when you're making friends to make
Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Kian. I'm so excited to have you. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to make friends, which I feel like is not a common discussion point, but I think it needs to be because so many people message me on how to make friends, especially like Christian friends. And listen, I did not have the answer, and I think that is why God has brought me back to my hometown where I don't have any friends to really show me how to make friends. And it sounds so simple, but really humans can complicate it a lot. And you know, making friends as you're older gets a little bit more complicated. So I just wanted to make this video on how I moved to a new place where I didn't really have any community and how I built it and how God placed all those people in my life and just my tips and personal experience. So if you want to make some friends, which we all need friends, keep watching this video. So I think a huge thing with friendships is not relying on them for your happiness because that puts so much pressure on friendships, and I've definitely been there before. Friendship was never created to have drama or upset or anything like that. I haven't had drama in my friendships for years, and that's because I just truly feel like God showed me friendship wasn't designed to be filled with all this drama. Friendship is here to bring us closer to God and support one another. Friends are something you get to choose, so why be friends with people who bring out like hatred in your heart? Having this bigger vision of what friendship's supposed to be like and knowing it is there to just really cultivate you and just have this group of people around you who are encouraging you to be your best self and the self that God created you to be. And in turn, like also doing that for others. So like when your friends don't call, or you know they've been out of touch, like not holding a grudge against them and just being like, well, I want to talk to them, so I'm just gonna call them. Oh, they didn't pick up, okay, well, I'll just call them again tomorrow. And just knowing like you don't need to take these things personal because we all have our own different lives and different things going on. You just need to make yourself available, and I think that leads into my next tip, which is make yourself available. And don't be afraid to initiate things, like even multiple times. You have to understand when like you're trying to make new friends, you are kind of inserting yourself into someone else's life, and they might not necessarily be looking for friends right now because they have friends. So you are just gonna have to put in more effort and be okay with that, and just initiate hangouts, initiate calls, texting, communication, just initiating all of that. And just really don't take it personal when they aren't doing the same thing, because you have to understand that they have friends and a life, and you are trying to insert yourself into their life in a healthy way and in a loving way, because you know your value as a friend, and that's a huge thing. Be the friend that you want to be. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Be a friend that you want to have. So if you're sitting here and saying like, I want all these amazing Christian, supportive, loving friends, like, are you loving? Are you supporting? Or do you have a lot of jealousy and envy that you need to work out? Is it hard for you to encourage other women because you've been hurt by women? Have you forgiven these women or men? So really just asking yourself, am I a friend that I would want to have? Am I praying for my friends? Am I checking in on them? Am I supporting them? Am I loving them? And just really start to become that person. And it goes the same way with dating, as I always say, is like be the person that you're looking for is looking for, and that's the same with friendship. Be the friend that you're looking for, essentially. It's because being a friend can be hard if you're doing it for like selfish reasons. You just really need to focus on becoming more like Jesus and getting close to Jesus, because Jesus is like the best friend you could ever have. And so when you get into just conversation and relationship with Jesus, he will show you what your other relationships should look like, and he will give you that same heart and how he desires you to interact with everybody. A huge thing in friendships like that I stick to is I will never talk about my friends behind their back. I will never gossip. And to me, this is so normal now to just not gossip, but I know a few years ago, gossiping is like so normal in the world. And people do it all the time, but that is something I just really was convicted about, and just taking on this new goal of just never talking badly about someone. If I have an issue or I'm feeling hurt by somebody, I just need to go talk to them directly, and really just having nobody in the middle. Just direct communication with that person, and that has been so healthy for my friendships. And it does take practice, and you will have to stop yourself and be like, whoa, okay, I'm kind of going down a train of gossip right now. I need to switch the topic of conversation, or I just need to own up and be like, hey, I actually don't really want to talk about people who aren't present. So I'm sorry for doing that. I need to like reel it back in, and can we talk about something else, or I just need to go talk to them about this. When I look for friends, if I hear them talking badly about other people or gossiping in any way, I always assume that they'll do the same to me. Like I'm no special case. If they can easily talk badly about their coworker, then they could easily do the same to me. And so that's what I like really pay attention to, is I'm no exception, and I will see, you know, however you're treating others, I will assume that's how you're going to treat me. So I think just like stopping gossip altogether is a huge thing in friendship. So let me just talk about my process of making friends moving to Illinois. So the first thing I did was look for a church. So a lot of the churches in the suburbs around here are more young families and a little bit more traditional, and I wanted something that had a really great young adult community. So I started looking at churches in the city, and I came across People Church. So on People Church, they have grow groups, and they have the lists of leaders in the grow groups, which makes it so easy. So social media is huge. So what I did is I kind of like read through some of the girls in the grow groups, the leaders in it, and I just messaged them on Instagram and said like, hey, I saw you're a leader in this, like I would love to get to know you. I'm looking for like community, and just really making myself available and telling them my intention was, hey, I want friends. Like I'm trying to find Christian community. I want this. Here I am. Take me in, please. And so that's kind of how I initiated making friends in Illinois, was just reaching out to random people on social media that, you know, were involved in church. And not every person did I necessarily like easily mesh with, or, you know, our personalities didn't click right off the bat sometimes, but then there was like one that did. And so I would always say yes. So like make yourself available when people invite you to things. Always just show up, give it a shot. You might not mesh well with everybody, and that's totally fine. Your personalities might not click, and that's totally fine. You can still love everybody. It doesn't mean anything about you or them. So yeah, like I said, there was one person in particular who I just really did click with, and so I just put more energy into that friendship, initiate conversations and hanging out. And that was something I had to realize, like, I just need to be not aggressive, but just assertive. And I realized that she has her own life. She's in a relationship. And at the end of the day, like, I am the one who wants this friendship. So if I need to initiate every hangout, I'm going to do it. If I need to text her again because she never answered, and she was very like clear that she's like not a good texter, and so I was like, fine, like I can humble myself. It's no big deal if I need to double text someone and just be like, hey, remember me, like want to hang out again. If there's grow groups or Bible studies and stuff like that, like really get involved in where you are. That's like a great place to meet people, is those studies, because conversation is centered around Jesus and people are just more vulnerable and open in those scenarios. So I would highly encourage getting involved in any of those groups. So through meeting that one girl, she knew people at the church, so then she would slowly introduce me to other people. And then, you know, whenever I met someone whose like their personality really just clicked with mine, I would take note of that and just invest in getting to know them. And through that, I met like Rebecca, and we got coffee and lunch. And through Rebecca, she introduced me to another girl named Sydney. And then we all like had a little lunch girl date, and I got to meet Shannon. And those are all the women you'll see in this video. But yeah, just really being open to meeting new people. I think a huge thing is just being vulnerable. And really just being yourself, because as Sydney will say later in this video, like just being the hot mess of a self that you are really allows other people to be comfortable and like makes them feel comfortable to be who they are. And I think that's a huge thing that I struggled with in friendship, is just I felt like everyone was wearing a mask and all the conversations were so surface level, and I hate small talk. I'm not good at it. I hate it. I want to talk about like your deepest, darkest secrets and like how they affected your life. So the whole small talk and making friends thing is not the most enjoyable thing for me. Really finding people who are comfortable being themselves and willing to take off this mask, or just like not even walk into the room with a mask on, was so important. And I also had to be okay, or just like accepting of people who do have masks and who aren't comfortable being that vulnerable, and not write them off and maybe allow them more time to open up. But really just coming in and taking off my mask and just being myself, and telling them what I'm struggling with, or just telling them my story, just being an open book and not holding anything back, and just being completely transparent, nothing to hide. That allowed for deeper friendships to take root so much quicker. Just like be clear with your intentions. Be like, hey, like I don't have any friends here. I think I'm pretty cool. I would like to make friends. I want friends. Friends are awesome. And yeah, I kind of feel uncomfortable just walking up to you, but you seem cool and I like your shirt, so hi. How long have you known Jesus? Like, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna insert some of the footage because I asked a few of my friends what their tip would be for making friends, so let's see what they have to say. Come on, these women want to know how you make friends.
I don't make any friends. I don't have friends. Are you filming it?
Yeah. See ya.
Actually, I know
what
how
did you
to
think
make
it
people
was?
Feel safe. I know.
Okay. You, come here.
I think it's important when you're making friends to make people feel safe in one way, tactical way for
Thank
Kian,
you.
which I make people feel safe, I think, is by not being afraid to show my true dingus self, because if people are like, oh, she's a hot mess.
Love
Yeah, like
that.
a little hot mess.
You say that because you hang out with John.
No. But it's like, if I'm just open and vulnerable, listen, I don't have all you, then they feel safe to be their true messy selves.
Ooh,
That's how.
that's a great one.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
I'll go next. I'll go next.
Go next.
I hate going last. So mine is to give people a chance even if they seem different from you.
Ooh,
I think
that's
my proclivity is to be like
Proclivity.
good. I know. All
Please
these
define proclivity for us.
my tendency. My tendency is to like
and proclivity.
to write people
Big
off,
word.
because like if they're like, I have a really hard time connecting with people that aren't as emotional as I am, or like
Yeah.
interested in the same things as me. But like I think I've been graced with so many sweet friendships in this past year because I finally learned to like let people close to me even if they don't understand me the way that I want to be understood right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And to make friends, for me, it's a lot of just like getting over myself and getting over like my pride of like, I need to be perfectly understood, I need to be met in a certain way, and if they're not my friend, like, and if we don't click, then I write them off. But like learning to like let them stay long enough to like find that connection.
Oh, that's
And
great.
thanks. And the Jesus connection also helps.
Yeah, Jesus,
But-
of course.
Yeah.
All right, Shannon.
I still have to think about it.
Okay. By the way, this is Rebecca. Tell me your.
Sydney.
Everyone's gonna want to be your friend after watching this.
They're gonna comment, Sydney should start a YouTube channel.
I cannot.
That's so true, though. You're just like so yourself that it just makes people
It kind of stressed
feel
me out.
safe.
When we first hung out, you were so yourself and unashamedly like you that I was a little stressed. I was like,
stressed. I don't.
because it was so much.
I don't remember the first time we hung out.
But it was good. We connected. Remember you were my crush?
Yeah. You wanted to eat, what are those things called?
Falafel.
Falafel, and I pretended to like them because common ground is important. And I really hated them, but here we are.
I have one.
Okay.
I think it's important to have open body language.
Ooh.
Body language is 90% of communication. So if you're over here at a coffee like, yeah, no one's really gonna feel or safe. They're not gonna feel. Yes,
That's real.
there we go.
I am so
That's a tactful way.
That's
That's
amazing.
good. That's really, I never would.
That's why our bond is so strong, probably, because I lay on top of you.
Yeah. So if I ever find myself crossing my arms, even if it doesn't matter where I am. If I'm just with people, I just like uncross them because I'm like, I'm open. 90% of my communication.
I'm open.
You should just do a little cutout of Sydney hovering over as your thumbnail.
This is it.
How to make friends.
I love that. Can you tell us how to make friends? Like one tip you would give on how to make
On the
friends?
spot.
For friends of the same gender, I would say be naked as much as you can.
Wait,
But for friends all around, I would say genuineness, in the spirit of that, but in a different sense. Being genuine is the way to go.
alrighty. I was not expecting that, but we'll take it.
I'm gonna get my
Be
list.
naked, or how do you initiate that? Okay, the next tip I have is to Google questions to ask people. Like, I was not good at talking to people at all. I was just super awkward. I would say about 3 years ago, I was just super kind of reserved. I wasn't myself at first. Definitely took a while for me to warm up to people. It was just very challenging me to have conversations, especially with adults. And I think that's just how it was raised, always being put at the kids' table and just never really learning those social skills. Adult, I have had to really work on being more conversational and having conversations with people and talking to strangers. And a way I did that was literally Googling questions to ask people. There is no shame in my game because I have been told I ask very good questions, and it all started with Googling. I remember in high school when I had to meet my boyfriend's parents, I would Google questions to ask because I didn't know how to talk to people. So Googling questions was huge, and I just kept doing that throughout my whole life, and it really just helped give me a basis for just a bank of questions to go back to. That's a big thing, is just ask people about themselves, because people are so much more comfortable talking about themselves, and it makes them feel comfortable and it keeps the conversation going. So if you just have a bunch of questions to ask them, and really listen. Obviously, if you're gonna ask a question, don't bother asking it if you're not gonna listen and really be invested in their answer. So don't let the questions overtake and make you overthink, but just have a good basis of questions going into conversation. One I like to ask people are what was the best thing about your week? What do you feel like God is teaching you during this season of life? Obviously there's the cliche stuff where did you grow up? But I always like to ask why. So if they say oh yeah, I just moved to Chicago, it's oh, what brought you to Chicago? How are you adjusting so far? Or do you feel like there's anything here that you're lacking? Or you're searching for, or what has been the biggest lesson you've learned since you've moved here? So even just starting with those basic surface level questions, you can get them so much deeper by asking why and what and how, and how does this compare to the last place you moved or you lived, and how is it being away from family? There's so many more layers to all of these questions that seem surface level. It's just really about capitalizing on those and just having just these things in the back of your mind of where just a simple, oh, I just moved here, where that can go and how deep you can take it. Obviously utilize social media to just creep on people and just really get to know them and be like, hey, I think I could like this person. I'm just gonna message them. One of my friends just moved to Vegas and she used the app Bumble BFF to meet women friends. So that is something you could try. I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I would love for you guys to leave in the comments one of your tips for making friends, or if you are currently struggling with it, I would love to pray for you. So yes, definitely comment below so I can interact with you guys. If you want, you can be following me on Instagram. I would love to have you over there. I'm definitely more active on there and interact a lot more if you send me messages. I do my best to answer within like a week, so you can always message me there. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you in my next video.